Well, how's everybody doing today? Good. That was pathetic. We're going to do it again. How's everybody doing today? Yeah. Hey, welcome. My name is Nick. I'm the pastor. I want to welcome all those watching online with us through Facebook or through the app. We're so glad you're joining us too. We are in the middle of this message series called Let Hope In. And I got to tell you, about a week and a half ago, I did not have much hope. I was driving and I was in the middle of this thing and I was on the Cumberland Parkway, just kind of doing my own deal, minding my own business, and then out of nowhere, just boom, I hit a deer, doing the speed limit, of course. But I hit a deer, and airbags went off, burnt my hand, the whole deal, smashed up my whole vehicle, and pulled over, kind of had this kind of presence of mind, ended up driving home, and I got to tell you, I did not handle it well. Okay, so as a pastor, our three core values, relevant, simple, real. I'm going to be very real with you. I did not get hit and go, Jesus, thank you so much that you're giving me trials. Okay, I'm going to pass these tests. I just thank you so much that I've been deemed worthy to walk. No, I did not. I was like stupid. I was so angry. I was so mad. And then to top it off, okay, and this is kind of my world, and I was so scatterbrained, I wasn't even sure I had full coverage insurance on my vehicle, okay? I was looking, my slips did not say, I was thinking, oh my goodness, I got to spend, 10 grand on a new van or whatever that is. Like I was freaking out, I was mad, I was angry, I was at home, I was looking for vehicles, I was just not in a good mood. In fact, at one moment, my daughter, I have the best kids. I didn't say this first service because she was here, so I don't want her to get a big think of herself too high, but my daughter looks at me and goes, Daddy, if we don't get Christmas presents this year, that's okay. I was like, oh, no, we're going to debt. It's fine. Don't worry about that. No, I'm just kidding. No. But, literally, I did not have a lot of hope. I was frustrated and angry. I was confused. It was frustrating me because all of a sudden I had expectations. We talked about this last week, right? Do you remember that? I had expectations of this Christmas season. I had things I wanted to buy, and all of a sudden I got in a wreck, and, even though I do have full coverage, by the way, thankfully, there's a deductible with that, and that costs money, and it's a terrible time, and it's Christmas, the whole deal. I was so frustrated. I was so angry that this wreck kind of happened out of nowhere. And what I want to talk about today is the wrecks in life can steal your hope. It can steal your peace. It can steal your joy, that you will have wrecks, probably not physical wrecks. I hope not physical wrecks right now. But what I know is every Christmas, doesn't there seem to be like something goes wrong, something gets wrecked, right? There's a party that you've got, and you've planned it, and you've got the list, and everybody's going to come. It's going to be all your family, and everything's going to be great, and it's going to be awesome. And then a wreck happens. A wreck in the form of your children, okay? Who wreck the house the day of. And you're like, why'd I have you again? You wrap up all the presents like my wife and I did, and it's awesome, and you're like, this is like the first year, this is terrible, I probably shouldn't be telling you this. It's the first year, I think, ever that we actually had our presents all wrapped and done, okay? We are the so last-minute parents of like, my kids are wondering, do we get Christmas this year? I don't know, we'll figure it out, and then Santa came, the whole deal. So, that's our tension, and yet this year, we're like, oh, we got it all done, and we leave, and our dog literally ate several of the presents, okay? Wreck. You will have a financial wreck potentially where something's going to break or something's going to get messed up. You will have an emotional wreck where something happens and somebody stabs you in the back or some friend says something or somebody doesn't show up or whatever and something happens. Somebody lets you down in some way and you will have an emotional wreck. You will have a physical wreck where somebody does get sick or something does happen or something does physically hit you. I don't know what will happen. What I know is this season, it's probably not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. When the wrecks happen in our world, are you going to be able to walk through it with peace and joy? Or is it going to be another one of those holiday seasons where it's just up and down? Listen, when it's a good day, I'm going to have good thoughts and I'm going to be happy and I'm going to be hopeful. And when it's a bad day, when my boss yells at me and he makes me work the wrong days and he tells me that I got to come in or whatever, and he yells at me for the wrong reasons, I'm going to get mad and it's going to ruin my hope. And it's going to be up and down and up and down. What I know is this, the wrecks will come, but you don't have to. I don't have to live that roller coaster of life. Today, I want to look at a verse that Paul Paul writes in this book, Romans. If you got a Bible, I want to encourage you to turn there. If not, we'll put it up on the screen. But Paul writes this what I call truth bomb. He's writing this whole thing. He's quoting Old Testament scriptures, and we're really going to unpack one verse together. And he kind of drops this and moves on. It's incredible what he says. And in it, he gives us, I believe, a recipe for success. How do we get through this season of hope in a way that we can look back and the stresses of getting the presents wrapped and getting the right presents and making all the meetings and getting everybody out together and making sure we're with family and making sure we're not with that family and the whole deal, that we can walk through the whole season of Christmas season. And we can literally say, you know what? It was the most peaceful and joyful season I've ever had. And so today, I want to unpack just one verse with you and discover how do we let hope in. Verse is this. Oh, it was already up here. How long has it been up here? Okay, I've been talking like it. Anyway, sorry. Okay, cool. Anyway, it says this. May the God of hope, that's the God that we worship. We're going to unpack that in a little bit, but may the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in him, so that you may overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit. This is the verse. Paul writes this, and he drops it. He's like, boom, and he just moves on. But he gives this kind of formula, this insight that says, listen, it's not about your circumstances. It's not about your situation. That you can live life in such a way that you have joy and peace. So much joy and peace that it like overflows. That it comes out of you. And so today, what I want to talk about is this. And I'm going to give you 3 points. And I normally don't do points, but I'm going to give you 3 points. And here's what they are. One is this. I want to talk about how do you live a life in such a way that you have the right overflow. That's the result. The right overflow of hope. Now I gotta pause here real quick and say this. Hope is what you do based on your beliefs. Happiness is how you feel based on your circumstances. They are radically different, and we confuse the two all the time. Hope is what you do. It's the overflow. It's the natural things. It's what you do, and it's based on what you believe. Happiness, which is what we pursue often and come up short, happiness is based on how we feel, and it's only based on our circumstances. And what I know is this, as you walk through the season, you cannot control your circumstances. You cannot control what happens to you. You can absolutely control, though, what you believe. You can absolutely control how you think, what you put into your mind, where you go, what you don't do. See, too many people sit back and go, they want to blame other people, and they want to say, yeah, so-and-so ruined the Christmas season for me, or if this wouldn't have happened, then it would have been a good season. And it's all about our circumstances. And in turn, what they're saying is it's all about their happiness. Paul says, listen, you want peace and joy? You have overflow of hope. It's based on what you believe. But it's also what you do. So many times I think we think of hope as this like happy feeling that people walk around and go, yay, it's so awesome. I love this. Oh, yeah. You know, they're happy people. I got to be honest, those people make me sick. I'm like, okay, no. You know, like get away from me. No. You know, that's not really me. Now, that's great for them. That's cool. That's not hope. Hope is walking through a very hard time. And in the middle of it, not that it doesn't mess you up, not that it doesn't derail you, not that you don't have a bad 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever that is, but hope is looking at it and having the perspective going, listen, this is terrible, but I'm good. I lost that for a few minutes when I hit that deer. I hit that deer, and I was so frustrated and so angry, and instead of kind of pausing and leaning into God, and going, you know what, God, you've got this, and I know you, and I've been through worse. It'll be okay, and God, thank you so much that I'm okay, and I'm healthy, and, you know, it's not that bad, and, you know, whole deal. Instead of leaning into my beliefs, I kind of leaned into how I felt, which was frustrated and angry, insecure about our financial situation and where I was going to go and what was going to happen. I leaned into that because here's, at the end of the day, how you feel. How you feel many times is based off your circumstances. Happiness is fleeting. It's like a beautiful bubble. The moment you try to grab it and touch it and hold on to it, you pop it. It's gone. Peace and joy. Overflow of hope. That's what you do. And you control your beliefs. Let me ask you this. What are you doing right now? See, as I read this verse, one of the things that speaks out, one of the things that convicts me is this. Paul says, listen, Can we go back to the verse really quickly? Paul says, listen, at the end of the day, your life, not how you feel, your life, your Monday through Sunday, all of them, it should overflow with hope. Meaning, your actions should do that. Your behaviors, how you communicate, how people feel around you. It should communicate hope that it's going to be, that, listen, it's not where it should be. It's not where it needs to be. It will be one day, though. That should be communicated. Let me pause and ask you this. Does your life overflow with hope? I don't know about you. I can deceive myself, though. I can deceive myself and say, oh, yeah, it absolutely does. So let me ask it a different way. If I were to sit down with your spouse / girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, and said, hey, what are they full of? I almost called the message that, but I decided not to. Anyway. That could go really wrong. Anyway. But if we asked them that, what would they say? Would they say, oh, yeah, just hope, overflows. Just hang out with that person, overflows. No, they're going to get it done. They're going to fix it. They're going to go. Like, they got a vision, and they got clarity, and they're going to move forward, and they're going to move things. It's going to be great. And no, they just, like, they're inspiring. Like, I hang out with them, and, like, that overflows with hope. Would they say that? Or would they say, you know what? They're great, love them. Kind of angry. Tense this kind of time of year. Little anxiety, a little depression maybe, a little frustration. I don't know. Kind of short with the kids. Kind of short with me. Kind of just not really. I mean, doesn't really enjoy the season. I mean, it's the season of Christ's birth and the whole deal. So glad for Christmas. So glad for all this kind of stuff. But you know what? Honestly, they'll probably be glad when it's over. So much stress, so much anxiety going along with it. What would they say? What overflows out of you? Because at the end of the day, when you think of the image of overflow, and I wanted to have something up here, and we didn't have time to kind of put it together, but if you think of pouring in and the water spills over, what I know is this. The overflow tends to stain and get on everything else around it. What you need to understand is this, that people are stained, both good and bad, by the overflow from your heart. And it can be empowering and moving, and people can be around you, and they're like, yeah, listen, I can't be like that person, but man, every time I'm around them, it's like, yeah, I feel better, and I'm encouraged, and I'm uplifted, and it's going to be great, and I just kind of walk out, and I'm like, yes! Or for some of us, every time I'm around them, you know what? I don't know, it's just kind of frustrating. I don't know, they just, whole deal. See, at your work, what would your boss say about your overflow? Let me flip that a little bit. If you're a boss, what would your employees say about your overflow? Your spouse, your kids. You have an overflow. You have this thing that you exude whether you want to or not, and it has everything to do with two issues. What you do, not how you feel. That's fleeting. What you do in the midst of chaos, in the midst of situations, in the midst of circumstances that are terrible, what you do, and then at the end of the day, how you communicate it and how people feel around you. Those two things merge together, and those two things are your overflow. That's what comes out of you. And as I walk through, what I find is many Christians, many people say, yeah, believe in God, love God, God's great, yeah, put all my hope in Him. Their overflow stinks. It's not what it needs to be. People complain about Him. People are frustrated with Him. They're not happy. They're not joyful. They don't have peace. They got anxiety. They got all these issues. And today, I want to break it down. I want to give you 2 ingredients I think every person needs. 2 things I think from this verse every person needs so that you can walk through this season and truly let hope in. So that at the end of this season, if they were to ask them, hey, so-and-so, what are they full of? The people around you would go, you know what? I can't explain it. Just so full of hope. You seen what they did? You seen what they accomplished? You seen how they communicate to other people? You seen, man, I don't know what it is. They exude hope. Number 1 is this. It's the right steps. The right steps. See, what that verse says is this. It says, may the God of hope fill you with all peace and joy. And then it says this, as you trust in Him. That's a huge word. As you lean into him, as you move into him, as you trust him, that's what gives you the overflow. There's this equation. And what happens is, too often, we want to sit back and we want to blame our circumstances. We want to blame our situation. Man, if my boss wasn't such a jerk, then I'd be happier. Man, if my spouse wasn't so mean, I don't know what her problem is. I don't know what his problem is. Man, I could enjoy this. If my kids weren't so just needy, I saw their Christmas list. They needed a notepad and then asked me for a second one, okay? Like if they weren't so greedy and grubby, like we could just actually enjoy the day. Ungrateful little brats. Might I point out you raised them? Anyway, okay, I'm going to move on. Just FYI. Okay. I think I pretty much insulted everybody. Let's move. Oh. No. He says, as you try. Here's the key word. Here's what I want you to see, though. The word as. See, if I was writing this, I would have expected it to say when. When's a moment? When's a decision? And see, last week we talked about this. Last week, if you weren't here, you can listen to it online. I encourage you to. We talked about you need to be willing to be wrong. Why? Because there's a big thing that God, I believe, wants you to do. And you think it's the wrong time, the wrong place, the wrong situation, you're the wrong person. It's the wrong everything. And there's a big thing. And that's a when moment. And I believe that is paramount for all of us. But as I read this, what I discover is, I think what Paul's saying is, listen, no, it's not the big. It's the normal. It's the little steps. Like it's the continual. It's the, as you trust, as we walk together, getting up every single day, as you're walking with God, as you're spending time with him, as you get to know him, as you move forward, as you make the small decisions, as you get up early and I'm going to spend some time, I'm going to read this book and I'm going to ingest this. As you do that, it says your peace and joy grows. As you pray, as you confess, as you do certain things, those small little things, that's, Paul's writing says, that's what leads to peace and joy. It's the small little things. I want to bring up one of them just because, I don't think we talk about it enough. But let me ask this question. When was the last time, it's a small thing, and it's a private thing, it's not even a public thing. When was the last time you spent more than 30 seconds in confession to God? Okay? Like not God, forgive me of all my sins, because I have prayed that prayer a billion times, because that's the catch-all. And what I'm really communicating is I don't want to think about it. I don't want to process it. I don't want to spend time in this. God, I'm busy. I know I'm not perfect. No one is. Let's move on, because I've got a list. I've got my Christmas list, and it's a whole notepad and then some. God, let's move on to that. Let me tell you right now. As you do that, as you spend time with God in confession, acknowledging, I'm not the person I want to be, and I've messed that up, and God, I'm not good, but you're good, and you're great. You start to spend more time, and you start to spend time realizing who God is and who you're not. And I'm just telling you right now, may seem counterintuitive, some of you, that lets hope in. Because you know you can't do it. You know you can't fix it. But until we really own how broken and messed up we are, we will still instinctively lean on and go, I got this, I'll fix this, I'll take care of it, I'll get it done, I'll move forward. And we had stress, and we had chaos, and we had anxiety, and which leads to depression, which leads to frustration, which leads to a whole bunch of other stuff like that. But the moment you can pause in the morning, I'm just telling you, it's a small little thing. I'd encourage you to do it this week if you've never done that. Just sit back and go, okay, God, you know what I need. You know what I want. Take care of that. I'm going to spend the next couple minutes, I'm just going to focus on all the things I messed up on, all the things I need to get in order in my world. You will be shocked, potentially. I'll tell you, it's a lost little thing. It's a thing that you do as you walk with God, as you trust in God. Because here's the deal. As you discover more and more how broken you are, you discover more and more how awesome God is, and your trust in yourself goes down, and your trust in him goes up. And when he calls you to make steps, and you think, I can't do that, your trust in God has gone up, and you think, okay, but he can. I'm going to move forward. Every one of us, we got little things we need to be doing. What is it? What are the little things? What are the next steps that you need to be taking in order to communicate your trust in God? Because hope is not a feeling. It's a decision. It's what you do based on your beliefs. Second thing is this, though. It's your God. It's the right God. You need the right steps, and you need the right God. This may sound weird, but I think in the church world, there's probably more than this, but for today's purpose, there's three gods. There's three different gods I think we worship that we kind of sit with. And number one is there's this tension between two extremes, and it's the God of now and the God of never. And we waffle between the two of them. Okay? So what this looks like practically is this, that people come to church, and I've done this, I've struggled with this, that we come to church and we hear a sermon or we have a wreck in our life and there's something going wrong, and what do? We pray and we lean into God and we go, God, I need you to fix it, I need you to help me, I need you to take care of it, I need you to kind of change the situation, I need to change him, change her, heal them, take care of that, I need a better job, I need more money, we'll just fix it, and here's the timing, now. Do it now. I need it now. I feel pressure now. God of now. And we believe in that because, again, well-meaning pastors, maybe you read a verse, I don't know what it is, you saw a sermon online, that God loves you so much and you can do all things through Christ, and there's even this Old Testament verse that, for I know the plans I have for you, plans to bless you and prosper you and protect you and the whole deal. So God, listen, I'm holding firm on all these verses now. You pray about it for a day, or a week, you're super spiritually, like even a month, and nothing changes. What happens is, don't miss this, what happens is you don't have the endurance, you don't have the patience that is needed because it's the God of now, and the God of now is not coming through, and you wanted it now, and you needed it now, and God didn't deliver. And so what happens is you switch from worshiping the God of now to the other extreme, which is the God of never. And you'd probably never put it like that. You'd probably never come in and be like, I worship the God of never. He's a good God. Yeah, he's just never there, No, but what it looks like is this. Your prayer life starts to really fade. You sit back and you make excuses. God's busy. I mean, they got the whole Middle East thing and with the economy right here, and there's some people that are starving and hungry overseas, and we got all these things like that. You know what? God's really, really busy. Or I don't really quite know what to say. I don't really quite know where to go. I don't know how to do this. We start to make excuses. And at the end of the day, what we're really saying is, listen, I don't really trust, it's key word, trust, that this God will do what I need him to do. So you know what? Why pray? I tried that once. I tried praying for him. I tried fixing and praying for her. I tried praying that God would heal me. I tried praying that I would overcome this addiction. I tried praying that I would get a new job. I tried it. I tried the God of now, but the God of now didn't show up. And so you know what? It's never going to happen. They're never going to come back. It's never going to change. I'm never going to get over it. I'm never going to get out of financial debt. It's the God of never. You know how you know which God you worship? Your prayer life. How is your prayer life? So if you sit back, is it generic? Is it, help me, bless me, protect me, take things? Or is there things that you're praying for with endurance? It's not a month, it's not a week old, because we're good at starting, we're bad at finishing. But at the end of the day, you're in this middle with this God of hope that says, listen, I don't know the timing, it's your timing, but I know what, and I'm going to pray, and I'm going to stand in the middle of it. I'm going to pray through it no matter what. And it's been a while, God, and I'm losing heart a little bit, and I'm a little frustrated. And I kind of expected, it's okay to admit this, I kind of expected you to deliver me through this by now. I kind of expected you to get past me this. I kind of expected you to heal me by now. It's not looking good. But God, I'm going to keep praying. Because you're, says in the passage, the God, hope. That's who you are. This God who may not be this day, but he is one day, someday. And it's not a never, and it's not a now, but there's this God who we can pray to. You just need to know that. This God who is very real, who loves you, who cares for you, who wants the best for you, who really does want to give you life and life to the fullest. But the tension is that's not on our timing. And that's not always the way that we want it to be. And it's definitely not always the timing that we want it to be. And so the temptation for all of us, myself included, is to lose hope. And when I talk about hope, I'm not talking about your feeling. Because I feel up and down sometimes. I'm talking about what you do. And to sit back and transition from, you know what, I prayed about that. We're going to quit praying about that. It's gone. They're gone. It's dead. It's past. God can't or won't change it. Who's your God? Right now, which God are you worshiping? Here's what I know. You'll never take the right steps, though. You'll never take the right steps until you worship the right God. The problem for many of you, you've got something in front of you, and God's asking you to do some stuff, and there's a tension. And it has very little to do with the step. Sometimes it's even a small step, but it really has everything to do with trust and everything to do with which God you worship. You'll never move forward until you kind of figure out who that God is. Is he really trustworthy? Can I really lean into him? Is he really who he says he is? Because I tried it this way, and it didn't happen. And so we lose heart, we lose hope, and our actions follow. So this week, here's what I want to encourage you to do. I want to invite you into discovering who God really is. Because when you discover who God is, when you discover the right God, it becomes so much easier in your trust as you trust to take the right steps. And I believe for every single person here today, there's some right steps that God wants you to take, but you're stuck. You're stuck and you don't have hope that God's going to be there, and you don't have hope. And so there's this thing I want you to do. It says this, Romans, earlier in this chapter. Paul's writing this, and before he gets to the verse that we were looking at, there's a different verse that he says that kind of sets this whole thing up. As I was studying this week, it just kind of spoke to me. And I want to read it to you. Paul writes this. He says, for everything that was written in the past. He's talking about Scripture. He's talking about this book right here. He says everything in it, everything written up to this moment. Obviously, the New Testament wasn't written totally yet, but he says everything in the Old Testament that was written up to this past was written to teach us, so that through the endurance taught in Scriptures and the encouragement they provide, we might have hope. I love that image. What Paul's saying is this. There's endurance in this thing. Now, I don't know when the last time, maybe you've never read this. I want to encourage you to start this week. We're going to send out a reading program. If you don't know where to start, we're going to send out a program this week to help you. But your next step is to discover who God really, really is. The God not of now or never, but the God of hope. Because as I read it over and over and over, every page, there are people walking through struggles, people walking through trials, people walking through loss. And Paul writes this, and he says, listen, they endured. And you start to see not who they are, because they're not the hero, it's who God is, because God's the hero. And it's as if he's writing, and he says, listen, just get away. Paul's writing him, and he says, listen, if you could just get away. Just quietly, in stillness of your time, maybe the morning this week. Here's what I believe is going to happen. I believe every person in here, you're walking through some type of wreck. But these texts speak to us. And so what will happen is you're going to pick it up and you're going to read about this guy named Joseph. And it's going to be quiet, and God's going to speak to you. And he's going to say two words. Two words through this. Because you're walking through brokenness, and you're walking through somebody stabbing you in the back, and you feel like you're sold. You just think this sold you out. You're going to read the story. Joseph. God's going to whisper in your ear. Me too. They stabbed me in the back too. They put me on a cross. And one of my friends, who I traveled with for years, he sold me. Me too. And it's going to give you endurance. It's going to give you endurance. Or you got a giant in front of you, and you're going to read a little bit later. You got a giant in front of you, and you're going to read this story, a story that you know, a story that you've heard. It's not new. Here's the deal. It's not new for many of you, but it's what you need. See, sometimes we're always looking for what's new when really we just need to be reminded of what we need. And you got a giant in front of you, and there's a struggle, but you're going to get away this week, okay? You're going to get away, and you're going to read it privately in the quietness. God's going to speak to you. He's going to remind you. Me too. You're not the only one with a giant. You're not the only one who had battles. I got you. I'm a good God. I'm a God of hope. And David speaks to you through the scriptures. Me too. You're going to come to the Gospels, and you're going to see brokenness. You're going to see brokenness, and you're going to see a man who was God, who was betrayed, who was sold out, who did the right thing and was treated the wrong way. And it's going to speak to you, not because it's new, but because God's speaking to you now. And what I think Jesus wants to communicate to all of us this morning is whatever you're walking through, whatever you're going through, whatever problem, whatever hill, whatever battle, whatever giant, whatever struggle, whatever person, whatever relational wreck, whatever emotional wreck, whatever financial wreck, I believe that if you just pause, come on. Sit with this. God can speak to you. Whisper. Me too. I went through that too. But I got you. I got this. I'm the God of hope. And I know it might not be your timing. And I know it might not be the way that you think it want it to be. But I got this. And I got you too. And so you don't have to worry. And you don't have to respond to all the ups and downs. And you don't have to have the anxiety. And you don't have to have the struggles. And you don't have to have, you can walk through life with peace and joy the way that you're intended to. Not because you're awesome. Not because you're great. Not because you're the amazing person. No. Because of who your God is. The issue is not your situation. That you change your steps and you change your spirit. That's the bottom line. That's what he says. As you trust in him, change your steps, not your circumstances. Change your steps and it'll change your spirit. Peace and joy. Here's how I know this. I hit a deer 3 days later. I'm walking out of a movie theater. I get a text message from my wife. Here's what it says. A deer just hit me. What are the stinking odds of that, okay? I just want to own that real quick, okay? If you're good at math, I'd love you to give me those odds, okay? Just, And here's what I know, okay? Just so you don't think I'm a terrible husband, okay? I know my wife well enough to know that, if she's texting me, a deer hit me, she's fine, the kids are fine, because if they were in the hospital or whatever, like that wouldn't be her first text. Tell you exactly what I did. It's honest truth. At that moment, you need to know my circumstances got worse. That was another deductible I had to pay. That was, extra $1,000 or whatever it was, extra money, worst time, Christmas, whole deal, whole deal. My circumstances got worse. Some of you right now, you're going to start to pray for something. I need to give you a heads up. Your circumstances will not get better. They will get worse. That's exactly what I did. Looked at it, I kind of smiled, and I went, it's about right. And I texted her, and I found her, picked her up, took her home. That's fine. You know why? Not because I'm awesome. Because I'd walked through it 3 days before him. And I started making some changes. And I started trusting in God more. And I realized, I was reminded, God's got this. He's got this. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's not about my circumstances. Some of you keep waiting for the circumstances to change. It's not about your circumstances. It's about your walk with him. As you trust in him, that peace and joy. And I was able to walk through that. I even had somebody looked at me, and they're like, Nick, I think you're under spiritual attack. And I'm like, I don't know about that, but I can darn well tell you I'm under a deer attack, okay? They're coming out of the woodwork for me. I don't know. I'm looking at deer differently now. I think all the times I've killed one, they're like, okay, we found him. Okay, let's go. Everybody, come on. We're just going to hit him, get his wife too. She cooked him. I don't know what it is, but you can have the best Christmas you've ever had if you let hope in. But hope is not a feeling. It's an overflow of your heart. It's what you do. It's based on what you believe, not how you feel. So this week, my hope, my prayer for you, what I'm inviting you to and what I want to partner with you with is, would you just spend some time reading this book, reminding yourself who this God is. Now, last thing I want to tell you. and then we'll wrap it up. Here's your other homework. Every week we're going to have a Let Hope In homework. And here's what I want to say. Scripture is a letter written to us, right? I mean, I believe it's God's letter written to us to give us hope, to help us, to encourage us, to give us endurance, right? This week costs you nothing if you want to partner with us. But I want you to do something really specific. I want you to write a letter. Handwritten. Don't text. Don't email. Don't say it. I want you to find somebody who you know needs hope. And I want you to write them a handwritten letter telling them you believe in them, you partner with them, you're praying for them. I don't care totally what you say. Just make it positive, of course, you know. But I want you to write a letter this week. Because what I know is Paul writes, and he says, this letter to us is God's letter to us, and it gives us hope, it gives us endurance, it gives us energy and encouragement. And I really believe every single person in here, there is somebody this Christmas season, and they are waiting. They don't even know it, but they are depending on you to be the person that God called you to be, and write that letter that they get, and it just speaks to them. They get to read you. They get to see your overflow. They get to see your hope, and in turn, your belief in them, your speaking into them, encourages them and helps them become who they're supposed to be this Christmas season. You are part of the Christmas miracle. Don't ignore that. Would you all pray? Stand with me. I want to pray. We're going to get you out of here. God, thank you so much. Help us write letters. Help us speak truth. Help us be who we're called to be. I pray that you would help us have hope, to let it overflow from our hearts, our minds. Let us be the church. Thank you so much for the opportunities that we get, that we have such incredible opportunity in front of us as a church, as a people. Lord, be with us and help us. Help us create a community where we let hope in. We love you. Thank you so much. Amen. God bless. Have a great week.